Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're playing Omikron, the Nomad Soul. This is one of the games that I got free ever since starting my game, and I figured for Thanksgiving I would just play all the old games that I've just received, either because it was free on Steam or because it was given away either through a tweet or something like that. No games so far have been given to me from a company directly because I'm a reviewer, but I have gotten a few things free that were open to the general public, and it's because I've gotten the game for free, I am not very committed to playing the game, so I'm gonna give it 30 minutes and see if I would want to play this anymore. This is a weird one because this game stars David Bowie. Maybe not stars, but he's definitely a main character in it. And David Bowie, of course, died earlier this year, I believe, and it's very possible that's why I got this game for free, is because they gave it away to everybody. It also stars a lot of his music, which on YouTube very possibly means that the music will get muted or edited out in some way, so you won't even get to hear it. This is made by Quantic Dream with no S, which is famous for making Fahrenheit, Indigo Prophecy. They're making a new game called Detroit. There's several other games that they've made. They're not particularly good at gameplay, but they are very good at telling good stories, interesting stories with good-looking graphics. And you can definitely see that, because for a 1999 game, it is frankly incredible that this game runs at 1440 by 480, which is not the right resolution, or 1920 by 1080, which is the right resolution. So apologies for that. It doesn't fully run smoothly. There's still some work you have to do there, but it does work, and that's rather strange. The graphics here in this background for 1999 are pretty good looking, but I want to sit here on the main screen for a moment so you can see the intro. Now, what particularly would be a problem on this game is if it runs poorly. It is a run and gun shooter, and the graphics don't look that good, and you kind of need the best of the best graphics in a run and gun shooter. Trying to go back and play Halo 1 if you have no nostalgia for Halo 1 is going to be very clunky in the gameplay mechanics, the reaction time, and just the general appearance, the number of enemies on screen, the skyboxes, the mountains, the texture. So that element gets in the way of playing this game. This game doesn't strike me as one that's going to be particularly short either. So even if for a nostalgia retrospective reason you wanted to go back and play this game, I don't think you'd want to really go through the whole time. And this is also an RPG, and RPGs are very known for not being short games. Now, as you watch this initial cutscene, look at how ridiculous it is in the fact that it just keeps changing. You assume this character being chased is the main character. He gets a gun out of nowhere and shoots robots. Okay, so you're in this Blade Runner-esque futuristic society, right? There's a hoverbike. So you would think that would set the stage. But now he's kind of on a desert planet, and now he's looking at a strip club, and boy, that is a lot better graphics than what I would expect. Now you're on some kind of snow planet with crazy animals. This is Star Wars level. Now you're seeing some kind of witch doing the ritual. Now he's running around on some kind of alien planet with weird buildings. again. So he's all over the place. And I wonder if this is indicative of maybe this is one of the bad guys here. Maybe this is indicative of they're just, and then you see a demon. It's like this game's all over the place. But maybe there are just specific levels that you hit. Now, I will say the Xbox controller does not work on this. It's not calibrated. In fact, even having it plugged in was giving me trouble because it was pointing off in the wrong direction and messing with settings. We've seen one other game that I've played that I got for free that also works this way. So that might just be something that you keep in mind. It seems odd that it recognizes the controller and yet it doesn't center the input and the analog sticks. Let's begin. So enter name. There we go. You may have also noticed that the confirm and cancel is in a very odd font. Very difficult to read. This feels like an early Xbox or 360 game.
My name is Kale. I come from a universe parallel to yours. My world needs your help. You're the only one who can save us. I succeeded in opening a breach between my world and yours. Through your computer, you can enter our world and help us. But in order to do this, you must transfer your soul into my body. Do you accept? Press any key to say yes. But hurry, there isn't much time.
Wow, if I don't say anything, I wonder what happens. So you can see the graphics here are pretty low polygon count when we actually get in the game. And this is probably going to be pretty clunky to play. It's kind of a shame. You would hope that there would be a way to remake something like this. Quantic Dreams is only really working on one game, so they could go back and remake several of their games, honestly, and that would fix, that would make them a lot more playable. But you would have to, frankly, rethink and remake all of it, and I just don't think they want the gameplay elements here. I think the running and gunning is something they've realized they just aren't good at, and they don't want anything. Well, if there was some kind of secret ending for not pushing anything, it's way too long, so I'm going to hit a button to say I accept. Just hit the space bar. Apparently I have to hit enter.
I knew I could count on you. Now, you must concentrate.
It's possible David Bowie had too much influence in this game, and thus the reason for this explanation that would have been wholly unnecessary in 1999.
Occupies my body. This is the last time that we'll be able to speak together. Once you cross the breach, you'll be on your own. I will take over my body when you leave the game and hold your place for you until you return.
This is so ridiculous. Okay, I understand.
That's it. You're ready. But remember, once you cross the breach, you're on your own. There's no saving and going back if you get into trouble. You are entering a real world. If you make mistakes, you'll just have to accept the consequences. Now, listen carefully. To begin your investigation, go first to my apartment. There's no more time to talk.
This is the kind of things you should tell video game players.
Oh, and one more
in
thing.
Case they're young.
Be careful with my
or
body. It's the only one I've got.
Potentially have mental problems. Like, it's highly unlikely somebody would believe this, but there might have been a couple. And look at those effects. Man. You can sure pull those off even in 1999. It's a shame they don't use them more often these days. Get knocked out immediately, or am I supposed to be controlling the game? Did they just suck out the other guy's soul?
You have been the victim of a violent attack. Go home, eat, and rehydrate yourself. If you experience mental disturbances, consult a psychiatrist. The Omikron police thank you for your cooperation.
Wow. He just tells them to go home, doesn't even help them. Alright, let's see how this controls now. Mouse and keyboard. And I'm hitting WASD. And he's turning his head back and forth. I'm hitting left and right. Let's try maybe the number pad. Well, this moves forwards and this moves backwards. But left doesn't move left and right doesn't move right. And left click does this and right click does this. Well, I think I see why this game is going to be unplayable, is you can't turn left or right. Like, seriously. This is the most ridiculous. Like, L does something. Look behind you. I'm hitting symbols. Enter. And enter interacts. ZX. I'm hitting every single key on the keyboard. Control Alt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow. This literally doesn't work. Let me plug in the controller. On top of this, I saw a discussion on Steam that said there's a game-breaking bug, apparently, to be careful of. So, keep that in mind, too. Alright. With the controller plugged in, there might be like in the lower right screen it says Nomad Soul. With the controller plugged in, we found a way to turn a little, but not enough. And the controller's not doing anything here. So you're not going to get to the David Bowie part at this rate. What? Is the mouse sensitivity just like... Computer terminal? Is the mouse sensitivity just crazy? Or... like, I can turn my head and move the mouse. I can left click, turn my head, look. And... but when I let go... it's like right click and then sweep? Like, I have no idea. It's not a middle mouse button, that wouldn't make any sense. So this game is just randomly receiving inputs. Like, can't even figure it out. This is insane. Can't get down the hallway. some games, let's just go with all the F1 keys and see if maybe we can do something there. Some games don't get a full 30 minutes, and this is certainly one of them. Like, I can't play it. I literally can't play it. Either you had to go into the menu and establish controls by default, which would be really, really stupid and unacceptable even for a 1990 game. Or there's something with the controller, some random inputs are just being somehow gotten. Like I'm hitting multiple keys. Yeah, this is just ridiculous. I would like them, I think, the best that they could do. This game was supposed to have a sequel and they never made it. Remake this game, maybe just take out the David Bowie parts. I bet Quantic Dreams doesn't have the copyright rights to any of the music, if I was to guess. And I bet the David Bowie estate now probably has no interest in it. So remaking this game is probably not ever going to happen. It's a shame that this is allowed to be sold on Steam. A ton of old games are allowed on Steam, and frankly, they don't deserve it because they can't be played on realistic modern computer software, and Steam doesn't seem to have the ability to tell when you're on a modern PC. They don't seem to have the ability to tell you, look, this game won't run on your computer, or it won't run without a considerable caveat of some sort. And I think this is more than just a considerable caveat. This is like totally undoable, like totally unplayable. Can't even get past the first hallway. And I imagine this hallway is here to help people learn how to use the controls, but if the controls don't work, there's really nothing to say here. I do know that there are some videos on YouTube to see some of the David Bowie parts of this game. That's probably the only part that's really worth looking at. That intro video certainly caught my attention. The graphics on the strippers was way better than the graphics in game, so I imagine that is a pre-rendered video. If you ever see any more of that, it won't be very much. I'd like to know the story. I'd like to have been a part of this when this came out in 1999. But honestly, if I had even played this game, even then, I probably wouldn't have been too satisfied with it. There's a big difference between like GoldenEye 64, where it had a whole community and your friends to play with, and thus you overlooked the bad graphics, and this, which wasn't a big deal, and it's a single player, so you couldn't play with friends and have that shared experience anyways. There's no reason to go any further. Unfortunately, this is just one that's going to go on my list of unplayable games. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.